So before we dive into depression, we need to look at emotions. We're talking about nature, and emotions are also a part of our nature. It's a normal part of our life. And we as humans are emotional beings. We're nothing without our emotions. That's something that differentiates us from other creatures, right? And suppose, or what, not suppose, actually, it is your emotions are your superpower. What you need to do is that you need to learn how to manage it. Think about the superheroes. I'm sure we all have watched some superhero movies, and you might have noticed that when the superhero initially discovers his superpowers, it's all out of control. He's breaking things, he's destroying things, but he needs to do some inner work to gain that strength to be able to control his superpower. So he can use it according to when he needs to use it. And he is in control of the superpower, not the other way around. His powers, his strength is not controlling him. And that is something that we need to achieve with our emotions as well, inshallah. It has everything to do with one's self-control and self-awareness, which we need to build. Okay, it needs work. It cannot happen without putting in some work. So we all need to build a sense of self-awareness that helps us gain control over our nafs and emotions. What does our nafs do? Our nafs desires immediate gratifications and temporary satisfaction. So that is where our nafs pushes us towards, and that's what we keep working for. And this is something that causes us to react without thinking. It's sort of like being high under the influence of a drug or alcohol, where your intellect is overpowered by that drug. And imagine that drug is your emotions at the moment, and you don't know how to control them. So your emotions are overpowering your intellect, and you don't know what you're doing, how you're reacting until it's too late and the damage is done. So we need to figure out a way to be able to control our emotions and let them out at the right time, in the right amount, in the most effective and healthy way possible, right? And this is what we learn with self awareness. So we need to work on our self awareness all the time, right? So self awareness teaches us to take pause. It teaches us not to react immediately. It teaches us to, hey, step back and take a few deep breaths and think through, give excuses, have a dialogue with yourself. Let the moment pass. Let things cool down. Develop or design an action plan. Design your reaction towards that some a situation, you know. And that's how you approach a situation in most effective way possible, right? So that now that we understand emotions and the place of emotions in our life, we can never be without emotions. All we need to learn is how to control our emotions and use them in our favor rather than against us, inshallah. So, similarly, sadness, grief, sorrow, these are all natural human emotions. A regular level of these emotions are easily manageable. It does not affect someone's daily routine, their health, their relationships, their performance at work, their performance anywhere else, their self esteem. And you may be sad, you may be grieving, but you're still able to live a healthy life. you're still able to continue with the normal routine of your life. That's a normal state, a normal person. Now, what does depression do? Depression is different from a normal sadness or grief. It is a disorder that negatively affects your routine, it affects your lifestyle, it affects your relationships, it affects your performance. If you're a student, you will lose control in studying. If you are working, you will not be able to focus at work. You just want to be withdrawn. You don't have any interest in life anymore. You don't have any drive. You lose the purpose of your life. So those are a few symptoms of depression. The good news, though, is that it's treatable. And that is why we need to have a higher self-awareness, because of which you will be able to catch yourself in falling into unhealthy physical or emotional patterns. And that is when you will be able to treat yourself before it's too late, before it's irreversible. Most of the cases of any disease, and if you are really into healthy lifestyle, you will learn. I'm sure that you know, and you will learn further when you do some research, that most of the diseases are treatable with some lifestyle changes and dietary changes. And depression is one of those diseases. If you make some lifestyle changes and dietary changes, you can very well treat your depression and gain control over your emotions. There are some cases, though, that may need medical attention, and that is fine, taking medicine for some time as a support. So medicine should be as a support, not a part of your diet forever. So you need to try to get you need to try to come to a stable state where you can go back to a normal life and you're not dependent on medicine. And then finally, unfortunately and sadly, there are some cases that are damaged to a point where there is no reverse. May Allah protect all of us from that point. And sadly, the reason they get to this level is because these cases were not detected sooner, or were ignored, or people did not take it serious. A person himself or herself did not take it serious. So there are a lot of internal and external factors involved, right? We need to be aware of ourselves. Just like if my arm is hurting, if my teeth is hurting, if my eyes are hurting, I'm going to see a doctor about it. I'm going to do something about it. And before even you go see a doctor, you try to take care of some, do some home remedies to take care of the matter. And if that doesn't work, you move on to the next step. And in the same way, you need to be aware of your mental health and well-being, that if there is some change, if there is a variation that's not normal, you should be able to catch it. You should know that, hey, there is something going on and I need to take care of it. However works for you. Okay. Your goal is to stay healthy. Your goal is to stay well, inshallah. Right? And if you're not aware of yourself, then you're going to keep ignoring it. Just like if there is a toothache and you don't see your doctor, if you don't take care of it, if you keep ignoring it, it's going to turn into something very bad, right? It could turn into something that is irreversible. The infection can go so bad that you need to pull the tooth out and you can't save it anymore. And so is with every other diseases. We talk a lot about diabetes. There's so many cases of diabetes that are taken care of with dietary changes. some lifestyle changes, activity, right? And I have seen a lot of patients coming off of their medicine because they are careful about their diets, with their physical activity. They're taking care of all of that.